Welcome to Mo Squared. We're two coaches, both named Maureen, who offer tips on life choices, how to deal with challenges more calmly, more efficiently, and to recognize our own energy in situations. Today's topic is celebrating differences. Maureen, we've been talking about some experiences you've had lately and some clarity in your work and what really is important to you. And you shared an experience you had on a bicycle trip that was really profound. You were gone for like a day, and it felt very different. Can you share a little of that experience?
Yeah, I was on a bike trip. It was about 3.5 hours each way, and a ferry ride too, which is always kind of changes one's perspective. To go to a friend's house on the shore, and I stayed overnight at the friend's house, and then I cycled back again. The cycle out was at 7 a.m. and it was super quiet and a little bit rainy. And the cycle back was in sunshine as the sun was setting. It was 9 p.m. and I arrived home at about 11:30. And it was magical. It was like I arrived in the door of my home in the city, and I felt like I'd been gone a whole week. And there was something magical about kind of, I think the cycling had something to do with it. And I think that the ferry ride had something to do with it. But the big thing was I came back in a different place. And then I decided to, I just felt inspired to write. So I submitted an essay to a competition, within a day and a half of the deadline. And there was just, it was just a beautiful moment.
And it just, there's something, taking the time to, it's kind of like following the inspiration to go for this ride and visit, and then coming back and trusting again that inspiration and writing from that place of, this just feels so right to be doing this.
Yeah, and I think the other piece that I didn't mention was that at the friend's place, it felt like there was no defenses, no barriers, no armor. It was all just, this is who I am, this is who they are. And there was a celebration of the fact that we're not the same. And I think, one of the things that's so energy sucking, if you want to call it that, in life is contorting ourselves into shapes that we're not meant to be in. And, defending ourselves or putting up the armor, when in fact what we really want is to be free and to be seen as who we really are. And I think that's part of what I experienced there, was this sort of opening and the acceptance of, you're you, I'm me, and let's just share what we got.
Yes, and that just is so, oh, there's something really powerful in that, and slowing down enough. So going for the bike ride and the ferry ride and going to visit your friends gave you permission to slow down enough and just be fully present.
Yeah, just be fully present, and open,
Yes.
um, open enough to say what is and what isn't.
Yeah.
And the idea that comes out of that is the idea that uh, there are differences. We all have differences. And the idea of, say belonging, and I have to contort myself to belong. Well, that's not how I want to belong. I want to belong in a very freeing kind of way. I want to be able to belong as a platform from which I jump to whatever it is, and then I land back on it right again, and it's nice and soft and nurturing, because I might have to fall in order to when I jump back on. But there's something very freeing about just celebrating difference. um yeah.
And in celebrating difference, it seems to me that what you're saying and is that when you feel there's a sense of belonging within, and when you talk about being on that launch pad to jump off and then return to a place that's nurturing and caring, and soft, it allows us to be open or more open to differences because we trust in ourselves, and we're also open to learning more about others and seeing people, um, as they are, who they are, without that judgment and trying to be like them, or for them to somehow change and be like you.
Yeah, the idea of accepting
Mhm.
who they are and accepting who I am.
Yeah.
And then the other analogy that sometimes is helpful is, you know, we talk about, say, belonging to a group, or we talk about, like, say, the platform idea from which to jump. But inside each one of us is this solid core, or this nugget, or whatever you want to call it, that if we totally trust it and we totally know who we are, or even if we don't know all the elements of ourselves, but if we accept who we are, then that is also a nourishing place to fall into, when things get tough. And if that place is all about judgment, it's not a nugget, and it's not a nice place to fall into, because man, you beat yourself up there.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Maureen, have you always been this way, or has this knowing, and or has this been a journey that you're learning more about who you are over time, and being less judgmental and harsh with self?
Yeah, I wish I could say that, yeah, I've always been this way, right? Uh, but of course, no, I haven't. I've beat myself up a million times. I actually thought it was helpful at one point, to beat myself up, because that's how, I thought I would succeed that way, right? But
Yeah.
but over time, what I've realized is I succeed way more effectively and um, much more enjoyably, when I'm nurturing and nice to myself, and 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 I kind of like my own best friend.
Thank you. Thank you. And that just feels like a really good place to finish up here. And the nugget that I'm hearing is the kinder and more compassionate we are to ourselves, the easier it is to allow our own uniqueness to shine through and allow others.
Yeah, and the other piece is, of course, if you can find that kind of nugget within a group of people, that's even more powerful. But each person has to have kind of come to that place themselves.
Yeah, and it's a journey and it takes practice.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much, Maureen. That was fun and really inspiring.
So
Go ahead.
if you'd like to learn more about my work, you can contact me at maureenmayhew.com. And you, Mo?
And me at mo2removingardonk.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you again soon.